The future of the picturesque city of Edmonds may center on skippers, of all things. On this special edition of Public Exposure, Mayor Gary Haakensen from the city of Edmonds tonight. Right here on Public Exposure, I'm Stan Emert, and the future of cities in general is something that really is at issue because we have Mayor Haakensen with us, who has been mayor long enough to have seen an awful lot of economic ups and downs, but maybe this is something that is difficult to deal with, huh, Mayor?
Absolutely.
Let's talk a little bit about your city, though, Edmonds. It's a beautiful place to go. Seems like it has great neighborhoods, good school system, really the kind of place that's like Americana, isn't it?
It's a great place to live, and we've been there for almost 20 years now, and we thoroughly enjoy it. And
you are the mayor, an elected mayor, but it's not particularly a political position, per se?
No, it's nonpartisan.
Nonpartisan, and you've been mayor for how long?
This whole century, actually.
This whole century. Okay.
11 years now.
Well, let's get some facts and figures about Edmonds. Its population as of 2009 was just under 41,000. It ranked 37th out of 422 ranked areas in the state of Washington on per capita income. Excuse me, I'm losing my voice. And has the largest covered moorage on the West Coast. I didn't know that at all.
Yep, we have a very nice port.
Also, I'm going to give you a couple of websites. The website for the city of Edmonds is ci.edmonds.wa.us. And also there's a great blog newspaper, if you will, called myedmondsnews.com. It's got an awful lot of information about it. So I want to go to the myedmondsnews.com. And the headline was, "Creating a Vision for Edmonds Waterfront is Blurred by a Building Height Issue." This was from April the 7th, 2010. And the quote is, "Deciding on the direction for waterfront development must be within the right context, package, and vision," Wilson, who is a city council member, added, "and require an open-minded flexibility around building heights, something the council has not always shown." What's the issue here?
Well, that particular issue was the city council actually tasked 3 council members, including Councilmember Wilson, to take a look at some of the properties. While they're called waterfront properties, they're not. They're near the waterfront. 3 properties: a Skipper's property, a Washington Department of Transportation property, an old antique mall, old Safeway site, and actually the Port of Edmonds has some property down there, Harbor Square. Take a look at that and see how that could all blend together into maybe one combined project. And he did that, they did that, sorry, the 3 council members, and reported back to the council, and it wasn't received particularly well.
When you say it wasn't received particularly well, what was the report? I mean, what was the conclusion of the report?
Well, there really wasn't a conclusion. There was an opportunity for the council to view his presentation. Councilmember Wilson put together a presentation and said, this is how we can make these parcels work. There was no recommendation for height limits. There was lots of talk about how properties could be swapped possibly to make appropriate projects.
Now, you say appropriate projects, and living in Seattle, and I'm have been watching the discussion over the waterfront for quite some time. Is it the role of a city government to be in private property development?
In my estimation, no. But you have to understand there's a division of government here with the executive branch, myself, and the legislative branch, the council. I believe the way we legislate that is to create building codes and zoning codes, and that should take care of the process.
But there are others who, well-meaning, so we're not cascading on anyone, but well-meaning who believe that there should be municipal development, or what exactly is it that they want? What do they want to do?
They being with the Skipper's property, for example?
Okay, with the Skipper's property, for example.
The vision that they're seeking hasn't exactly been delineated for us yet. We don't know, I don't even know as mayor what vision they have for that parcel.
Well, let's go to the next graphic, because we've got the Skipper's property in Edmonds. You see it's right there inside the red circle. There is the ferry dock right there. We're going to get a closer up view here very soon. But I want to go to myedmondsnewsagain.com, and this is, council agrees to make a $1.1 million offer for the vacant Skipper's property. Let's go to the first quote. Excuse me. Council members DJ Wilson and Strom Peterson were the dissenting votes, both stating that they believed it was fiscally irresponsible to make such a purchase. given the city's budget difficulties, let's go to the next quote. Others on council disagreed, however, stating that the purchase would guarantee that the property wouldn't be sold to an undesirable owner such as a fast food outlet. Why can't you just zone out fast food?
Well, they certainly can, if that's what they choose to do. The restaurant that sits there is a Skipper's restaurant. It's been vacant for quite some time. I don't believe that there should be a differentiation, or there should be a differentiation between fast food and a restaurant. Fast food would be a drive-through. None of us want a drive-through restaurant there. A restaurant such as Skipper's, it's not a drive-through, or whoever would take over that would be fine.
At the same point in time, wouldn't a drive-through be very convenient for people on their way to the ferry?
You know, people, no, not on their way to the ferry, because they couldn't drive through it because of the way the holding lanes are configured.
Okay.
And those folks that are coming off the ferry from Kingston, they are on a mission to go wherever it is that they're going, and it's typically not to stop in Edmonds.
Okay. Well then, in terms of the Skipper's property itself, how has the city council says they're going to make an offer of $1.1 million, and yet the council did not tell you what you're supposed to use it for?
Well, I happened to be in Washington, D.C. the night that they did this, and I was back begging Senators Murray and Cantwell for money for small cities, and was getting phone calls from reporters telling me that the council had taken this action. Now, I was aware that they were looking at it because we'd been gathering information for them. So I hesitated before I made any comments because I wanted to see what they'd actually done. And their motion said that they directed me to sign a purchase and sale agreement for $1.1 million. There was no purpose stated, there was no appraisal ordered, and there was really no mention of where the funds were going to come from to pay for this purchase.
Okay, now a couple of the dissenting votes were stated the city's budget difficulties. You're the mayor, what's the budget difficulties?
Well, we are going to be in the red in 2012. There's no question about that. We are facing difficult times like most small cities, and not knowing where the funding is going to come from for this particular purchase is a little disconcerting for us because the general fund is strapped. And so...
Now, what's the public's role in all of this?
Well, the public is being heard. Like I haven't ever heard the public in Edmonds be heard before. It's overwhelming, at least the sentiment that I have heard and that I've heard at council meetings, in opposition to this purchase. Actually,
My Edmonds News did a poll, and of course it was an online poll and they don't claim to be scientific, but here's the results of it. It's 81% say don't buy it to 17%, and that's pretty strong.
Indeed.
Do we have the clip from the City Council ready? If we've got the clip from the City Council ready, we're almost ready to go to that because fortunately the City Council meetings are available, and this comes from YouTube. And so does City Council believe that there is a role for the public in this, besides just having hearings?
Well, I can't speak for them, but I hope so.